Well, good morning, everybody. And today is my birthday, and I thought it would be a nice thing to share what I'd promised to do a few days ago, which is to show you around Bealtaine Cottage, my home here in the west of Ireland. It's an old stone cottage, but I think I have made it very 2024. It's very comfortable, it's very warm, it's a lovely place to live. So I hope you enjoy your visit. This is the front door of the cottage, and the front of the cottage faces north. So the two little windows in this wooden porch, which was built by myself and a friend, one faces east, this one, and the opposite one faces west. So I get both the morning and the evening light in here, which is wonderful. It's constructed entirely of wood, and virtually all of the wood is reclaimed, and reclaimed from building sites after the Celtic tiger fell apart virtually overnight during the banking crisis of 2008. This door leads through to the sitting room, which would have originally been the kitchen, but I swapped the kitchen and the sitting room round. And the first door on the left leads into my bedroom. Patsy's still in her little bed because this is early morning when I filmed this. This window faces north, so it doesn't get a lot of light early in the morning, which is fine, especially during the summer when you have a very early sunrise in the west of Ireland. So the cottage has been entirely renovated over the course of the past 20 years. It's been done in stages according to whatever finances were available. Though mostly there hasn't been a lot of money spent on the cottage because virtually everything has been done either on a shoestring or by myself. And wood that's been used is basically raw timber. It's not even finished. Here's a little wardrobe that was built in. This bedroom was renovated, I think it was 2018. So that was about 6 years ago. The style has been kept rustic because rustic is very forgiving and allows for all kinds of mistakes, and also allows for wood that other people would not necessarily be using on construction to be used. This is a beautiful old chest. It's Georgian, so it's about 230, perhaps 240 years old. I love the use of mirrors throughout the home because, of course, you get that lovely reflection of light. So you have two bedrooms leading off this main room, and that's typical Irish cottage, stone cottage construction. The building is made of stone and it's very deep walls. So this is the back door, which faces south. So the back door and the front door are perfectly in line with each other, which according to Feng Shui is actually a very good energy point. Now, the floors in the sitting room and kitchen, I have done myself. All the tiles were waste tiles and basically thrown into a skip, and I have recycled, upcycled, reused them to create a floor which cost me little more than the few bags of cement I had to buy. So there's two windows in the sitting room. One faces north and one faces south. And this room originally had a Stanley range in it, which was completely defunct. So I installed a little wood burning stove and this fire surround. Again, most everything has come from junk shops, charity shops, recycled, upcycled, throwaways, including this beautiful piece here, which I bought at a boot fair. So this is the window that faces south, and as you can see, there's a little veranda outside the back door. And then you have, there you can see, in total there's 4 doors in the sitting room, and then there's an open doorway leading through to the kitchen. All the woodwork here, the shelves, I've done myself. I do the decorating myself. I was a little bit curious as to how this red paint was going to work on the walls, but I think it's turned out really, really well. So the other bedroom, which is a little spare bedroom, I call it my granddaughter's bedroom because she likes to sleep in here, and there's some of her toys here. And very tiny, it's much smaller than the other room. So I had a bed built in, as it wasn't a bog standard space for a bed. And again, the wood panelling is a lovely form of insulation. Lots of wardrobe space in here because there's very little storage space in the cottage itself. And the window faces south. So it does get lots of light, especially during the summer. I think the wood panelling actually is very forgiving because it does add a lot of warmth. Because the stone walls can be very cold when the stove in the kitchen isn't fired up for more than a day or two. I love to do designs and stenciling and little bits of woodwork myself. So you can see where that all fits in. And I also love art. I've got a lot of art in my home. So this is coming through to the kitchen now. This is standing in the kitchen looking into the sitting room. So we're now in the kitchen itself. And I recently had this new, well, it's actually recycled Stanley stove put in. It's completely reconditioned. I've decorated the kitchen. Did this in sunshine yellow. There's 2 windows in the kitchen. This one faces into the west. And then there's one at the front, which faces north. I like the idea of the windows facing north because I originally come from Omagh in County Tyrone, which is in the north of Ireland itself. So again, the kitchen had some shelving put into it. The shelving on the right I've done myself. The shelving on the left was done for me. And of course I love little aspects of nature being brought into the cottage. Again, living in a cottage allows you to be very close to nature. And I think the kind of homeliness of a cottage encourages you to bring nature indoors. And also, of course, to see it through the windows. I've planted over 1,100 trees here, so I have a woodland. As you can see, it's very colourful, of course, at all times of the year, but especially during the autumn. It's a beautiful place to sit, and I often work at my kitchen table rather than in the studio. So all that tiling around the stove I did myself, again, very much on a shoestring budget, hence all the different kinds of tiles. And the shelving, one of the first bits of woodwork I was involved in, well, did myself. So this is the pantry, and the pantry sits quite neatly between the kitchen and the studio. And that's the little shower room. So this is the oven, the electric oven, which I use sometimes. It's very small, so therefore very economical. And it's got two hobs on the top for cooking, if I ever need them. You can see that's rather rusty, so I very rarely use that. And then this is the air fryer. If you remember, those of you who've been watching a long time, this Irish dresser, which is a hand-built Irish dresser, it's well over 70 years old, if not more, is now in here and stores most of the teas and the coffees. And underneath, I've taken the curtains off so I can do a quick check as to what is actually in there. I also keep my ironing board in here and the iron stored down below in the dresser. And now the studio, sometimes called the lodge. This was built, oh, creaky door. This was built onto the cottage. It's made entirely of wood and it was constructed for my mother. Most of the materials used in here, bar the ceiling boards, are recycled, including, as you can see, the door. The door came from an old Irish pub that was being renovated. So this is a sofa bed. So for guests, that's a great place to stay. And I have a wood burning stove there. And up there is where I do most of my desk work, because as you know, I'm a writer and an author, and I have all my books printed here in Ireland and I post them from my local village, Ballyfarnan, the nearest post office. So you can see the boxes of books there, and every little nook and cranny has books stored. That's the she shed where I store most of my junk. This is a nursing chair and stool that my youngest daughter gave me. It's a little rocking chair. It's rather comfortable. So this is my office space, and as you can see, really good views of the greenery outside, all the autumn colours. That's the little veranda. And over there, you see the back of the cottage? Yeah, just about see it. So the windows are upcycled, recycled, repurposed. They cost me about €30 each. And of course, the way to build anything is to start with your windows and build around them. And that way you can save a huge amount of money. And when myself and a friend and my two daughters built this, there was very little money around. Ah, I hear you ask, why do you keep stones on top of the stove? Well, the stones heat up when the stove is on, and they have a nice slow release of heat. One of the advantages of having low ceilings here in the studio is that when I do light the wood burning stove, this place heats up really fast and becomes so warm I have to open all the windows. So this is my little shower room. I don't actually have a bathroom. This is part of a little bit, including the pantry, that was built onto the cottage back in, I think it was about the late 80s, something like that. So I have a little shower in here. You just see that. And all the water that I have here in the cottage comes from a spring well up on the hill. So I do shower in spring water. That is a great benefit. And I have two little radiators in here which don't work very well, but just keeps the bathroom reasonably warm. Yeah. another little piece of mosaic that I did around a solitary mirror tile. For those of you who don't know about Bealtaine Cottage, this was the cottage on the first day that I saw it, 20 years ago in 2004. And my delight has been doing it up over a long course of time, 20 years. I'm still in that process. But planting a woodland around it has brought me great joy. And I'm quite sure has brought Mother Earth great joy as well. It's a wonderful place to live now, and it just shows you the transformation that can be done in 20 years. I don't know what's stopping all the politicians, really.